Everyone here at JP Morgan is so excited for our new state-of-the-art headquarters, now that Jamie Dimon is making us come into the office 5 days a week. We've got world-class dining, fun plans. We even have a rage room for when Jamie Dimon thinks too hard about remote work.
Welcome back to the Future of Work Weekly Report, where we dissect the latest workplace trends with the precision of a surgeon and the wit of a stand-up comic. Kind of. This week, we're diving into the chaotic world of return-to-office mandates, the allure or illusion of recharge days, and the ever-evolving definition of productivity in our modern work environment. Buckle up. It's going to be an enlightening ride. First up, let's talk about the federal government's latest attempt to get employees back into the office. President Trump's mandates has turned workplaces into scenes reminiscent of The Office, but with less laughter and more logistical nightmares, if you can imagine.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down!
According to a Wired article, employees are commuting long distances only to spend most of their time in virtual meetings with colleagues who are also in the building. It's like traveling across the country to FaceTime your neighbor. Makes a lot of sense. But in all seriousness, if you're a leader considering an RTO mandate, do this one thing. Ensure that the in-office experience offers tangible benefits over remote work. Otherwise, you're just adding commute times without adding value. That's not productivity. That's not efficiency. What does DOGE stand for again? Anyway, it'll come to me.
Lawmakers hearing directly from former federal employees today on Capitol Hill as hundreds bombarded offices trying to get answers, instead getting pushed out. And after hearing from voters back home, some Republican members of Congress are changing their tone. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist has the latest from Washington.
Everybody move, please.
Hundreds of fired federal workers taking their anger and questions to Capitol Hill, crowding into and overwhelming lawmakers' offices, demanding answers.
I think it's really cruel to fire people for poor performance when they've only had great feedback.
To why they were seemingly randomly fired by billionaire Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency.
I felt really proud being an American working at USAID. I really felt that we were providing support and care to humanity around the world because it's the right thing to do. And that made me feel proud no matter who was president.
Republicans who've felt the anger from constituents back home, like Congressman Rich McCormick, softening their tone.
I'm all for trimming the government. I'm all for also doing it in a deliberate manner that allows people to adjust in their lifestyle.
McCormick, just one GOP lawmaker, expected to meet with the president today to discuss the firings and the cuts to come. Meanwhile, federal employees who still have jobs may get a second email asking them to explain their work. Musk posting on social media that failure to respond again will mean termination, contradicting what the government said yesterday, that responding was voluntary. The White House saying today President Trump supports his secretary's directions.
So again, the agency heads will determine the best practices for their employees at their specific agencies.
Everyone goes through a review process all the time. Every single year. You just don't do it in this kind of way and just make it easy for China to collect data on the American people.
Still, for some, more questions than answers.
I have cried every day. I have a 15-month-old at home, and I'm looking at him and thinking, well, what's this country that we're now living in?
But to pacify employees disgruntled by return to office policies, some companies are offering recharge days. According to the New York Post, employees are luring workers back to their cubicles with the prospect of more me time. It's like saying, we know you're unhappy, but here's a cupcake. Sweet, but missing the point entirely. While recharge days are a step in the right direction, I guess, companies should focus on addressing the root causes of employee dissatisfaction, such as flexibility, autonomy, purpose, meaningful work. actually caring about the people who work for you, rather than offering superficial perks, because ping pong tables and beanbag chairs, they're not going to help you pay for groceries. Because we all know that groceries have gone down over the past few months, right? 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 Anyway, there's a common belief that being physically present in the office equates to higher productivity. However, studies suggest otherwise. The Bureau of Labor Statistics found that industries with increased remote work saw notable productivity gains during the pandemic.
Throughout the pandemic, I've been a big supporter. It was a contrarian view, but I think it's now less of a contrarian view, that companies and CEOs need to be clear in their convictions around how they work. And one of the things that I've been criticized a lot for is that I'm for having people in a room together. So my companies, we're not remote. We work together in an office, as I said, down the road from here. And I believe in that because I think of community and engagement and synchronous work. And I think that work now has a responsibility to be more than just a set of tasks you do in a world where we're lonelier than ever before. There's more disconnection, and especially for young people who don't have families and so on, having them work alone in a small white box in a big city like London or New York is robbing them of something which I think is important. This was a contrarian view. It's become less contrarian as the big tech companies in America have started to roll back some of their initial knee-jerk reactions to the pandemic. A lot of them are asking their team members to come back into the office at least a couple of days a week. What's your point of view on this?
So I have a strong view that I want people in an office. It doesn't have to be all one office, but I want them in an office. And partly it's for their own benefit. If you're in your 20s, when I was a young executive, I knew nothing of what I was doing. I literally was just lucky to be there. And I learned by hanging out at the water cooler, going to meetings, hanging out, being in the hallway. Had I been at home, I wouldn't have had any of that knowledge, which ultimately was central to my subsequent promotions. So if you're in your 20s, you want to be in an office because that's how you're going to get promoted. And I think that's consistent with the majority of the people who really want to work from home have honest problems with commuting and family and so forth. They're real issues. The problem with our joint view is it's not supported by the data. The data indicates that productivity is actually slightly higher in when you allow work from home. So you and I really want that company of people sitting around the table and so forth, but the evidence does not support our view.
Interesting. Yeah. Is that true?
It is absolutely true.
Why is Facebook and all these companies rolling back their, and like Snapchat rolling back their remote working policies then?
Not everyone is. Most companies are doing various forms of hybrids, where it's 2 days or 3 days or so forth. I'm sure that for the average listener here who works in public security or in a government, they say, well, my God, they're not in the office every day. But I'll tell you that, at least for the industries that have been studied, there's evidence that allowing that flexibility from work from home increases productivity. I don't happen to like it, but I want to acknowledge the science is there.
Moreover, the Asana Anatomy of Work Index reveals that employees spend nearly 60% of their time on work about work. That's tasks like searching for information, managing shifting priorities, and communicating about work. So organizations should really start to focus on streamlining workflows and reducing unnecessary tasks to allow employees to focus on meaningful work, regardless of their physical location. That's what we should be focused on, not return to office or do as I say or control. We need better workflows and we need to reduce the unnecessary task. Now, looking ahead, hybrid work models are set to dominate. A Gallup study indicates that as of 2023, 55% of remote-capable employees are working in hybrid arrangements, balancing time between home, coffee shops, co-working spaces, or the office. And so this means that companies should invest in technology and policies that support seamless collaboration between remote and in-office employees to maximize the benefits of hybrid work.
Everyone here at JP Morgan is so excited for our new state-of-the-art headquarters, now that Jamie Dimon is making us come into the office 5 days a week. We've got world-class dining, fun plants. We even have a rage room for when Jamie Dimon thinks too hard about remote work. Where were we? Our office even has 30% more natural light than normal office buildings, so when you're working at your desk till 3 a.m., you'll know it's 3 a.m.
It's killing
Excuse
America.
me. Deep breaths, Jamie, deep breaths. Hey, buddy, you already banned remote work. Why are you still so angry?
We were on a Zoom and no one was paying attention to me. Can you imagine?
Well, but this is a global company, so even if you make everyone come back in, like some Zoom meetings will still have to happen.
No, efficiency, creativity, also woke.
Okay.
Come back to the office or leave. It's a free country, but my company's an authoritarian dictatorship.
Who is Jamie talking to?
Just the voices.
Okay, back to this. We have all the technology that you'll need to talk with your coworkers across the globe. Oh my god, okay, he saw your Zoom meeting. Okay, it's time to run.
Now, selfish plug, this is exactly why we chose to build Grapevine. We understand that location is no longer the standing point in which employees connect, right? We are distributed. And in addition to that, our work is scattered. And so what you need in your organization is a single source of truth where employees can go to anytime that they need to know what's going on in the organization or where to find information in a clear, easy, and organized manner. That's where we come in. I'm going to drop a link to our newest landing page to show you more. So if you want to learn more about Grapevine and how we can help your distributed or hybrid workforce, click that link and schedule a meeting today. But let's finish off with the takeaways from this week's exploration of the workplace evolution. First, flexibility and meaningful engagement are no longer perks. They're necessities. Second, and lastly, companies need to adapt or risk becoming obsolete in the modern workplace landscape. These are serious things to think about. And with the way that the economy is, the ability to be able to work flexibly or remove that office altogether with a tool like Grapevine, it might be something to consider. But that's all. Thanks for tuning in to the Future of Work Weekly Report. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with your boss, especially if they're still insisting on that 9-to-5 grind. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. See you next week.